All right, fire them up!
The word of the day is creepy. You might as well get used to it. I'm about to use it quite a few times. I'll be 100% honest with you. At my age, movies do not scare me anymore, but they can get me by being creepy. There's that word. Get used to it. You're going to hear it a few more times. Weapons has done something that I haven't had a movie do to me in quite a while. It stunned me in how they told the story. I was expecting this to be a linear story that follows Julia Garner all the way through the movie, whatever the mystery was supposed to be, which I'm not going to spoil it for you. It was going to be her unraveling it and being caught in whatever is going on. But that is not what we got. What we got is a film that follows Julia Gardner for a couple of days, then it switches over and follows Josh Brolin for a couple of days, and then Alden Ehrenreich is in the film. I didn't know he was in it, but then it follows him, and then there's all these intertwining stories, and then you get the tie-up at the end. We've seen this in films, but this is not what I was expecting going into Weapons, so I was totally surprised and caught off guard, but caught off guard in a really good way. Zach Cregger does a fantastic job of not only producing the film, but writing it, directing it, and being one of the people who does the music for it, co-scoring it. We get a child narrator explaining early on in the film that on a particular Wednesday, 2 years before the events of the film in Maybrook, Pennsylvania, 17 children from one elementary class whose teacher, Justine Gandy's third grade class, they all disappear at 2:17 in the morning, and only one student, Alex Lilly, remains. Now, at some point over that 2 years, Justine Gandy is put on administrative leave because basically everybody in the community believes that she has something to do with it. And she's depressed and obviously ostracized with all of these kids going missing. She resorts to alcoholism to deal with her depression. But then she turns to trying to figure out what happened in order to clear her own name. I know this film is listed as a horror film, but to me, it is not a horror film. This is a thriller mystery with a little bit of horror sprinkled in along the way. And Zach Cregger, who is not only the director, but he's the producer. He's co-scored the movie. He wrote it. He is just all over the place in this film. He does a masterful job of telling this story without it being boring. This is one of those films that I'm going to tell you right up front. It is a slow burn. You are not going to get a whole lot of jump scares. Yes, you have a couple in the film, and I think they were just put there in order to say, hey, there's going to be a couple of people that's going to need this, so we can throw these in the film here, and I think it'll be okay. But he does a masterful job of taking a slow burn, and it not feeling boring, it not feeling out of place. And you got to give it up to him, because in anybody else's hands, I'm pretty sure they would have messed this up, and it would have been a complete mess of a film, and you would have had all of these intersecting stories being told, and by the time you watch the film, you would have been like, I don't get it, I don't understand where they were going. But in Zach Cregger's hands, 2 thumbs up to him, because he ties everything all together very well. And I also have to tell you that this is not just a single cast member. Obviously, we know Julia Garner's in it. We know Josh Brolin is in it. I also mentioned earlier that Alden Ehrenreich is in the film, which I did not know it. But there are other faces in the film where it's like, oh, smokes, I didn't even know that person was in this film, and they're in it. This is such a beautifully put together cast. Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, like I said before, which you also have Austin Abrams, Carrie Christopher, Benedict Wong, Amy Madigan. It is a ensemble cast, really, and because it's a non-linear narrative to the film, I think paying attention to every cast member and their involvement within this story before it all gets tied up in the end, that's the best way to watch this film if you haven't watched it already. And if you have watched it, go back and watch it by paying attention to just each character within their set. Don't worry about what's happening with the other ones while you're invested in what's going on with that one particular character, and I think the story becomes a hell of a lot better. Again, I have to stress, this is not a horror film. I know for a simple fact that everybody who hasn't seen it is going to look at the reviews and say, but they say it's a horror film. But honestly, it's really not. This is a thriller. This is a mystery. This is a study of what happens when a person is ostracized in their alcoholism, and how it takes a toll on a person, and the things we go through when we're isolated and we're left out in the cold from the rest of society. This is a masterful film that has been written and directed by Zach Cregger. I cannot stress to you enough how good this film actually is. It's going to feel long because it is 128 minutes. But honestly, I think this is 128 minutes well spent. There isn't a lot thrown in that is unnecessary. Everything that's in this film is necessary for the narrative to be told very well. And it's one of the few times where I sat and watched the film and never looked at my watch. Not a single time. I watched this entire movie. I was invested in every little bit. The one thing about the film that I can nitpick is the ending does seem a little meh for everything that leads up to it. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad ending, but I was expecting something very different and something a bit more, but the ending is fine. Everything that leads up to it, the journey going up to the end, is phenomenal. It's just that one small pocket of the film, the very end, is like, okay, I guess that's good enough. You'll get that type of feeling, but overall, absolutely phenomenal film. And I usually don't talk about how much they spent on a movie, but the fact that they made this film and made it so well for $38 million with that cast, and it has gone to gross over $200 million. It is a hit, not just with critics, but with fans and at the box office with people paying to watch it. That's something that needs to be celebrated because I've said it quite a few times. A lot of the films that we get out of Hollywood, especially over the last 5 or 6 years since the pandemic came to an end, or should I say they let us out of the house, a lot of films, they spend way too much money. They try to throw everything out and go well beyond the scope of what is needed to tell a good story. But this film actually pulls us back in and says, hey, you don't have to spend a lot of money in order to tell a good story and to have people come out and see it at the theaters. And this one of those films, especially over the last couple of years, that have pointed the finger and proves that type of thinking. So I'm very glad to know that they did not spend a ton of money considering how much movies usually cost, because believe me, $38 million is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but considering how much most movies cost now, $38 million is a drop in the bucket, and it's doing very well box office wise, so I'm happy for them for that. Overall, like I said, phenomenal movie. If you have not seen it, you need to see it. And if you have seen it, I want to know what you think about it. But for me, this was a 9 out of 10. It is that good of a film. I think by the time 2025 comes to a close and people start talking about best films of the year, this film is going to come up. I don't know if it's going to be in my top 5. We'll worry about that in December when we do the Golden T Awards. But this is such a phenomenal film. Like I said, not a horror movie. It's going to stick with you. A lot of what's in this film is going to stick with you. It is not scary like a horror film, but it is creepy as all be damned, and it is going to stick with you. Everything that happens and a lot of the things that you see, I don't want to spoil it for you, and especially the twist in which you figure out exactly what's happening to everybody in this small town and what happened to those kids is going to stick with you. You're going to walk out the theater like, damn, I didn't see that coming, and that was damn good to see it. But yeah, that's the movie Weapons. I want to know what you thought about it. If you've seen it, if not, I want you to see it and then come back and tell me what you thought about it, because this is not one of those films that you are going to want to miss. I promise you, if you miss out on watching this movie in the theater, because this is a type of movie that really needs to be in the theater on the big screen, unless you just have a gigantic TV at your house. But if you miss out on it now, you're going to see it later and you're going to be like, wow, damn, I really should have went and saw this in the theaters. It's really that good. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you thought about the movie if you've seen it, and tell me what's actually your favorite horror film over the last couple of years. This is creeping up there. It's still listed as horror. I don't consider it a horror, but if it's going to be in the horror genre, this is creeping up to be one of the better horror films over the last couple of years, if not the best. We'll see by the time the year is over exactly what happens. But for now, that's it, and I'll catch you in the next video. We will say God bless, I love you, and peace. See you next time.